For starters, I want you to first. What is your full name and where and when were you born?
Nathaniel Scott. Born 1958 in Waverly, Alabama.
My name is Irene Dowdell. I was born in 1958, and I was born at the John Andrew Hospital in Tuskegee, Alabama.
Gotcha. Miss Wanda Lewis mentioned to me about Tuskegee.
Yes,
How,
John Andrew.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you grow up in Tuskegee, or did you grow up in Auburn? Same with you. Did you grow up in Waverly?
I grew up in Waverly. I went to high school in Camp Hill, Edwardsville High School.
Yeah, I grew up in Lochapoka. I went to Lochapoka High School, and after I graduated from high school, I went to Miles College and graduated Southern Vocational College in Tuskegee.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up in Lochapoka. You grew up in Waverly. What did y'all remember about your high school experiences and all that fun stuff?
Well, my high school experience was that, we were not integrated. We was all black until probably after I got out of high school. After I got out of high school, that it is integrated now with white and some Latinos and Indians. Mm-hmm.
When did you graduate high school?
1977.
What was your high school experience like?
I started school, my remembrance in 1963. Like August, it was the same year that before I started school, this is something that I remember when President Kennedy got assassinated. And I hadn't started school, but that same year, I started school in first grade, and we went to Edwardsville, the elementary, and at that time it was 1 through 12th grade, and about the 5th grade, they integrated the teachers. The white teacher with 2 schools in Camp Hill High with the white school, and Edwardsville with the black. And we was in the 5th grade, I remember that year and they integrated the teachers first. Black teacher went to the white school, and white teachers came over there to us. And I got in the 7th grade, then they integrated the students. And I went to Camp Hill. We stayed over there about 2 years. And after that, I don't know all what happened. And they brought us back to Edwardsville. That's where I graduated. I played basketball, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Did either of y'all have the freedom of choice initiation? Not initiation. Yeah, initiation.
What you mean freedom of choice?
It was freedom of choice, at least here in Auburn, for integrating the schools. And so I was curious if that was if y'all did that there.
Go ahead. No, we didn't have. I didn't. Let me say it like this: before they integrated the students, you could have went to. We could have went to the white Camp here, but I chose to stay with Edwardsville. And then when I got in 7th grade, that's when they kind of put us integrate the whole school. And I'll tell you one reason what happened was it was a private school up there between Camp Hill and Dayville, and most of the whites went to private school, and so I guess they couldn't afford to have 2 schools at that time, so we went back to Edwardsville and they closed up Camp Hill High.
Gotcha. I was mostly curious about that, just to see if there was any kind of similarities. Because I was about the different little places. You had mentioned President Kennedy's assassination. What would Kennedy and later MLK, Martin Luther King Jr., what kind of impacts did those have?
It was some main events that that I remember as a child that stuck in my mind. And That's just one of the events that happened that I can kind of say before I started school, that's happened. You know, I can't, that's just stuck in our mind because we, everybody's, when that was a shock to people, at that time, and, we just shocked about that.
Yeah.
And
My parents.
MLK, Martin Luther King, when he was assassinated, we was in what grade? About 4th, 5th grade? I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, something.
But I know, and see, some of the older children, I think they went to Atlanta, and we watched it
on television
at school.
That's good.
We didn't have
class. My parents, with the killing of the both of them, it was like these are the good people, and these people was trying to help the black people, and some mean person killed them. So
it's just horrific and awful. And
right.
What other events stick out to either one of you?
I can remember when his brother, Robert got killed. Yeah, Robert Kennedy. Mm-hmm. And then when he wasn't the governor at that time, I don't think he was, or he might have been, when he stood in the door, It was the governor, at the Tuscaloosa school, to not for the lady to go to school. I thought that was awful too. Yeah. It was awful.
Absolutely awful.
It's awful.
I know you mentioned the schools.
I won't say that during that time we had some very good teachers that seemed like they were very concerned about the students. And they let more or less like mothers, It wasn't always talked about what's in the book. Textbooks. They told a lot about life stuff. It was a real good experience.
That's a good thing.
It was.
How did y'all meet? With Waverly Lynchburg, it's not that far, but how did y'all meet?
How did we meet? I met him at church. He's Masonic, and I'm an Eastern Star, and my dad was a Mason. And the two lodges used to turn out together. And that's how we met.
That would be really interesting. How big was religion in both of y'all's hometowns, and how did that kind of, influence, for lack of a better word, y'all's decisions in life?
Religion was a big thing part of my life. My mom and dad, they talked stuff about it. And they helped influence a lot of things in my life to keep me out of some trouble and stuff, not to do bad things or do things to hurt other people, like people got the hatred in their heart now, just because the color of your skin.
Awful that anyone could hate someone for literally just existing. I'll never understand that.
I know. I look at the incident with the mayor over in Smith Station, and I think that was cruel, very cruel what somebody did. I think it should have been something that even if you had it on social media, you shouldn't have never put it out there. You should have let it be, because that really broke him, and it, you never know how things affect a person.
Oh, yeah.
And it affected him real bad until he took his own life.
You never know what someone is going through and what's already
right
happening with them, and it's
right. And then you don't know the realm behind what it was about. You should have just left it alone. But somebody disliked him because he's the mayor, and he's supposed to have a certain image. But I think I know he was a nice person, but that's just where prejudice come in, and it can be very, very cruel and mean.
I'm assuming religion was slightly similar.
Yes.
how did that influence your upbringing?
Well, religion plays a big part in a lot of our people. You know, I'm gonna say people. I ain't gonna say black or white. I'm gonna say religion. That's just like our diet. We eat. You know, that is something that we can start remembering that. You know, our parents took us to church and stuff, taught us right and wrong. So that's what we are today.
Yep, very true. What was y'all's families like? Who made up y'all's families growing up?
Who was basically the influence of it?
Influence of it, or just whatever you want to share. Just whatever you can remember, share.
Well, I had some very, very good grandparents, and I was 6 years old when my grandfather died, and I was real close to him, you know, and my grandmother and my mom and my dad, and I was real close to my dad, you know. I loved my mama, but I was a daddy's girl, and I can say, you know, he might have kind of spoiled me a little bit, you know, but he still would discipline me, and he would show me love, and he would show me right from wrong, and my mom would do the same thing.
Okay. What about you?
First of all, my mother lived to 104, and it's 7 of us. And she married twice, 2 times. The first husband passed away, and she met my dad. And they married, and they had 5 of us. She had 2 preggers and 5 of us. And she was
Strong little lady.
I fully believe it. You gotta be very strong to make it to 104. That's a good long life.
That's a long time.
A very long time. We want to talking about a little more on communities. Of course, a lot of my questions relate to Auburn and Opelika. And I had shown you all those questions. Of course, for this, since y'all are both from Lochapoka and Waverly, I'm going to pretend the questions say Lochapoka and Waverly. Do y'all know of any major controversies or any kind of NAACP involvement in Lochapoka or Waverly? If there was any?
The only one that happened at our university campus way back when the fraternity painted the face black, you know, the red tick, and you know it got out of hand. That's why they don't play Georgia Tech anymore, you know. So, you know, then at that time I was the president of the NAACP, so it was something that, you know, you really would think that at that age they would be away from that, but it's probably because in their fraternity, you know, probably their foreparents and different stuff probably taught them, you know, things about black folks and different stuff like that, you know, and the Omega Psi Phi's, you know, that was the fraternity, you know, that they had, you know, against, and so it was kind of like, you know, it was kind of shocking, very shocking. Very shocking. It was very shocking.
You said you were the president in 2001. What led you to?
What led me to that?
Yeah.
Well, at the time I was a member, and the president, I think he died. So somebody had to step up and take the place. And I'm very active, just like now. I just left the courthouse this evening about the voting and making sure people be treated right and not treated unfairly. You know.
Which is incredibly important.
Extremely especially important. Yes, and I want everybody to be treated where they can be registered to vote and be able to do the things that they need to do. And I know sometimes you may suffer some things, but I don't want anybody to suffer anything. You know, I want it to be peaceful, you know. And we can get to that point, you know. Somewhere in life we can get to it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
We can get to it.
What was the president before you?
Herbert Trimble, wasn't it? Mr. Trimble? Was it Mr. Trimble? Or
I
Marvin?
can't remember all that. I can't remember. I think it was right before came Marvin Dowdell. I looked on.
It could have been. It might have been Marvin.
We had. Let me say this. We had access to. I got access to all the
Members.
the members who previous to pass and now, and I had Marvin Dowdell. He joined in 1989 to 1999. Mr. Trimmer joined in 1998. So it must have been after he.
I think it might have been Mr. Trimble.
It must be after Mr. Trimmer.
Mr. Trimble.
To 2005.
Yeah.
Mr. Trimmer
Yeah.
was. I said president was a member.
Remember? Yeah. So anyway, it was after
Mr. Trimmer.
Mr. Trimble.
Yeah.
Herbert Trimble.
Yeah, it had been Mr. Trimmer because he was the last one for.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why I had asked, of course, you were trying to hopefully fill in any little blanks. I remember Miss One Lewis telling me that she didn't remember who was president, or very least the Auburn.
See, they had
Branch,
once
yeah.
they had the Auburn
Yeah.
branch,
She didn't
and
remember.
it died out.
Yeah.
And then this is where the Lee County branch came
Yeah.
in. You know.
Yeah.
That's where it came in. You know, and they. I think in some of the history, I think it's Higgins or Huggins or somebody.
I think that's Georgia Ann Higgins.
Yes, she was the president of the
She
Auburn
was.
branch.
She was right before Mr. Morris Lewis.
Yeah.
And she wanted to tell me she didn't remember who came after him. And so I'm guessing that's about when it died out for a while, and then the Lee County branch
It
formed.
died out for a while. Because I can remember Mr. Arthur Hill being a member of it and stuff, you know. And Mary Roberts, she was the first black council lady, and the street is named after her, too. So, you know, it just probably with the people, you know, getting older, getting sick and stuff and dying out, you know. It just died out. Then that's when Lee County took over. You know.
Do you remember what year that would have been? Or around what year that would have been, where the Auburn one died out? And then, if you don't, that's perfectly fine. But I know it's probably around the 80s or 90s.
This probably was the 80s.
Because I know Morris Lewis, once he remember correctly, his presidency ended around middle 80s.
Middle 80s. It's
around
somewhere
there,
in the,
yeah.
roughly the 80s and stuff like that, you know.
I was curious if y'all had an exact year or anything.
We don't have any.
But that's perfectly fine.
I thought I used to see that name, Auburn, NAACP, and but I can't swear.
I know, of course, and I saw something about there being an Auburn University chapter, and I know Billy Allen spoke on that a little bit.
It was, and I'm not for sure whether it still is, but they just got to get what president?
Yes.
Or we got
an
president.
advisor. They need an advisor, and then they start back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was actively involved into, you know, I guess President graduated. He graduated, so they got to get an advisor and got to get the office back.
Do you remember who? I know it was mentioned that you were the set secretary. How did, yes, but why did you become secretary, or how did you become secretary?
I don't think I come up with that one. I attend the meetings, and the secretary before me, I can't remember exactly. I think she passed away. She got sick and wasn't able to come, and I just fell right in.
Okay.
And I stayed secretary until I don't remember the year. I just come behind. I can't remember. I know Miss Wiley. I can't remember her first name. She was the secretary when I first joined. And I joined in 1992. And she was the secretary for a while. I might say a while, for some years. And it seemed like another lady. I can't remember her name. And she got sick. I think she passed away. And that's when I became the secretary. My neighbor, Mr. Patrick, Lucia Patrick, he was the treasurer. That's one reason how I joined. Because Thursdays, once a month, him and his wife, they would go somewhere, and I asked where they were going, and he said they were in NAACP. And then I joined, and he was the treasurer. I was the secretary. He's next door, living rest next to me. He passed away now, and his wife, and everybody. But that's how I was Marvin Dowdell, Mr. Trimmer, and Irene. I was the secretary.
Yeah, he's our secretary.
It's a very good reason to join. Mm-hmm. What led to you joining? What led to you joining?
What led to me joining? He influenced me to join. He asked me to join.
And
get involved.
That's an amazing reason.
Huh?
I also think that's an amazing reason to join.
Yes. Asked me to get involved.
I'm assuming at that point, of course, all kind of falling under the Lee County.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was there ever that y'all know of a Lochapoka or a Waverly
branch?
No. Lee County. They'll take care of Auburn, Lochapoka, Waverly. Smith Station.
Everything in Lee County.
All Lee County.
With being the secretary, did you ever keep any of the documents during when you were?
Very little. I do. Miss Parker did have the secretary.
Book. Secretary minutes and different stuff like that. You know, he had it and she shared it with him doing the banquet and stuff. And had it on display and everything.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was check books. I have that.
Membership envelopes and stuff like that.
I have that.
Do you only have the times for when you were there, or do you have
just the time when I was there? Okay. We did not should have, but we did not pass it on to them. Because it doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the branch.
Yeah.
But when she got sick, probably she wasn't able to, give it to him. That's probably what happened.
Probably.
She would have did it, but she got sick.
Probably. I assume that would probably be the case that you would just have from when you were there, but it was just kind of more of a curiosity of if there was any more documents floating around. I mean, it probably are somewhere, but
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
It might be some stuff I don't, at home that we got from the national or something. Because I went to the mailbox, P.O. box, stuff like that.
Growing up, did y'all remember hearing anything about the Auburn and the Opelika branches from being so close nearby?
I always heard about NAACP. I always wanted to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we heard about it. Yeah.
Do y'all remember any major events that happened near Lochapoka or Waverly that involved NAACP?
I think what got me more interested Also during that time, Bandit, Representative
George Bandit.
from Tuskegee.
Thomas
Reed.
Thomas Reed.
And they used to have like mass meetings in Auburn at St. James. And I forgot what it was about.
The incident that happened downtown Auburn at one of the, I can't think of, it was a counter or something. It's sort of like, not Woolworth, it was something sort of like Woolworth, but they went in and some of the people, I know Barbara Pitts, she went to jail, because, they went in to segregate, That's when I can remember the Auburn chapter doing that, and that's when Reverend Bandy and Thomas Reed got involved.
Was that the Orange Bowl or something one? Or was that
one of those bowls or something. It was something.
I know that one was a cafe, and I was told the story of the owner putting a gun down on the table, being horrible.
But see, that's what got me started. We could go down there, and so I kind of joined NAACP. And you asked a couple events that I can remember. The first thing that I remember that we did as NAACP, we went out to I ain't say all, but several business through Opelika. And we asked them how many employees did they have, how many whites, how many blacks, and what the black position was. We went to several stores and business, business, and just asked the questions, and we took notes, what have you. That was I think that was my first outing as NAACP. It seemed like we seen some changes. And just right there, and people, business, they were nice to us and everything. And one other event that the employees of Lee County
Diversify.
They had separate. They related the blacks to the break rooms.
City of
Auburn.
Auburn.
The county employees, and they first one came over one time to our meeting, and they felt like they were discriminated, paid, stuff like that. And we dealt with that somewhat. And the next day, I think, probably was that Auburn University.
Do you remember any of the names of those businesses that y'all went to?
I know we went to Winn-Dixie. There was several downtown there that probably closed up now.
Flashes. Did y'all go to the store?
Yeah, we went into
Flashes.
Yeah.
Eleanor Shop, Diana Shop, and Woolworth.
Let me back up one other thing. We did Shoney's. We had a complaint. One of the employees got discriminated or something at Shoney's, and we went there also. And we more or less, things are a little bit different now. We more or less told people, quit going to Shoney's.
Fully understandable.
Yeah. Well, Shoney had a bad reputation. It was a problem back then too.
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Yeah. I mean, it's just something that happened.
Were the problems resolved? I hope they were, but were the problems resolved? Were you able to?
He was. I think he was more or less a national thing, and it was.
Good.
And I think that really hurt Shoney's other business.
I'm glad it got resolved. That's an extremely important thing. Earlier, you had mentioned St. Jane
Baptist Church.
Yeah. Where was that at? I'm assuming it's
in
Auburn. Do you remember about where in Auburn?
It's in Opelika, but it's on Auburn Street.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Opelika.
It's Opelika, but it's Auburn Street.
I was curious because I hadn't heard that name before, and so I was trying to get an idea about where it was. Did you ever join in on going to businesses or any other events with the NAACP?
Yeah, with some of the events, but not all of the events. Because when I got in there, they had already did those things.
What do you remember?
Well, we handled the situation at Auburn, and I'm trying to think. Something else came up, but I can't think about it. It was something else came up where it was resolved because the state president at the time, Reverend Shankly, and the field director, White, they came down too, and it was resolved and stuff. And it was, like I said, they took care of stuff at Auburn University. And that's when the first black SGA president, they named the building after him. I can't think of his name, but they named the building after him, yeah. And he was the judge, but I think he has reclused himself and stepped aside because of things going on in Georgia. Melton, his name was Melton. Last name was Melton, but I can't think of the first name.
I can't think of it either, but I know that's the student center that he's named after. The student center is named after him.
Right.
Yeah.
He was the first black SGA president. Plus, after graduation, he finished law school and he was a judge. But something going on in Georgia, he decided to recluse himself and step aside.
Gotcha. Do y'all remember the names of any of the people who joined in with going to the businesses?
The memos that went to? I know Mr. Patrick at that time, Miss Hutchinson.
What about Mr. Waddy?
Yeah. Miss Waddy. Mr. Waddy didn't participate much. His wife did.
Okay.
And Reverend Johnson. I can't remember the first name. Reverend Johnson, he deceased too. All those people is gone, and there was more other people. And we more than like. Huh?
Miss Hutchinson?
Yeah, I call him Hutchinson.
Okay.
We kind of like in groups. We wasn't, like 2 or 3 that went to this place, and then we came back. And I probably had that. I ain't gonna say I got it, but we written where we went, and what was said, and we had our question, what we gonna ask.
Which time is most memorable for you?
Those that what I just.
Yeah. I was pretty much just gonna see if there's like one that like in particular sticks out.
Just we met at Bethesda, Palaca. It was always on Thursday, and you can tell when there was a problem. We had more meals there. We had people show up. We have people to show up that I could tell they be on time, but when everything is nice and smooth, it just builds a few memories.
Yeah, with the painting of the black face, we met at St. Luke, right there on the corner across the railroad track. That's where all the stuff took place at, because it was on campus.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And I think if I remember correctly, that's like fairly close to the campus.
Yeah. We met at St. Luke.
We had student from Tuskegee, we had some Atlanta, like Morehouse.
It was a lot of folks. I mean, it was
a lot of.
It was just awful, but it was the news media was there. They was there. Because when they did the parade, the day of the parade, I can remember because I was working on campus.
I mean, that was an event.
Right, it was an event. But see, I was in the library, and I'm looking at this. They riding on the horses with their face painted black, and they had on the purple Omega Psi fraternity shirts. It's like they had a pick at them for some apparent reason.
I don't even understand why someone would want to do that to begin with. It's just.
Before that, for we as a branch, we got a call. I did. And we to meet at Thompson Chapel. And when I got there, I knew Irene. It was all the city officials there. People that I didn't know. You know, I was a member, but a lot of folks I didn't know. And it was all the city black city officials were there, civil rights people that's been involved. You know, a lot of them I didn't even know. And they had a meeting. We had a meeting at a big table. I said, "Wow, this is big." You know, because I was real young.
How old were you?
I don't know what my age was at that time.
Were we 30-something?
Probably.
We were 30-something. He's like 6 months. He's 6 months and a day older than me, so we had to be 30. We was 30 something. Because like I said, you know, I'm seeing this. I'm looking out the window and they going up the street with the parade. And everybody, even black and white, stopped. They stopped what they were doing and looked at this, you know. And you know, one guy said, "How could the hell you do this? Why are you doing this?" You know, and it just became a national thing. It got out of order, you know. And I think I remember it might have been last year, a teacher did something in the school and she painted her face black, and I think she didn't lose a job, but they put her on suspension because of something she did. You know, you have to be very careful now about what you do with children or how you do with children, because it affects them, or either, you know, it affects somebody else, you know.
Everything has consequences.
Yeah, and you know, it's you can't do that.
We had lunch with the president. What his name was? Muse, isn't it?
Muse.
President of our university.
Yeah, Muse.
He invited us to lunch.
He was a good president.
We also we attended what they call that when the government
Trustee meeting.
The trustee
meeting.
Oh, it was so many people.
Right. Because it really shocked him.
The governor was there. Who was the governor?
It had to be. It was Wallace. It was Governor Wallace. Was it Siegelman?
I don't see.
It was Siegelman. But anyway, it was a big thing. It was national known, and I don't even know they suspended the fraternity. I don't know whether
I thought they did.
Well, I said they did suspend it, but I don't know whether now that they're back.
It may be
on
back.
Campus. They may be back because that's been some years back, you know.
I don't know the names of all the fraternities, so I wouldn't be able to tell you.
Right, and I know they suspended it. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they suspended it. I would have, sadly, with how the university has been in the past, I wouldn't have been surprised if they hadn't, but I'm glad they did because they needed to have.
Yeah, they suspended it because it really made the university look bad. It really did. It really made them look bad. And then see the football guys and the football coach and stuff. It just rocked everybody's world because, you know, it's been going to red tick forever. And all of a sudden, somebody decide that we're going to paint our faces black and ride the street.
How dumb can you be to do something like that?
Well, I think in a sense, some of them probably didn't know how it would affect, but it was somebody that knew and had been doing stuff. They was taught that, some of them was. And then some of them probably gave an ultimatum, if you don't do this, we're going to put you out or something. So that's what probably happened. And they didn't know that it was going to have that great of effect on people.
I know there was also the, at one point, Kappa Alpha, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I believe that's who I'm thinking of. Who I believe did the constantly 70s, 80s, constantly did the Old South events.
I thought that what it was.
That's what it was, is the red tick, the Old South, yeah. And see, they were they had, some of them had on the Omega Sapphire shirts, and then the other ones had on the civil rights stuff. That's, I mean, the Civil War, yeah, that what really got it. And they was on the horses too, They was on the horses. It just tore up the town, and President Muse had to do something real fast.
I'm glad he stepped in and
he stepped in. He stepped in and helped, because he didn't want that, to be on his record and all that. He didn't do anything, and he allowed it to be.
Allowed it to happen.
Mm-hmm. Allowed it to happen.
Was there any kind of legislations or any kind of change with laws or local or that the NAACP was involved in?
Not during my time.
Maybe with some voting stuff they may have did on legislation, stuff about voting, because something is coming up now where we gonna have to. The state attorney general has wrote up a plan that we need to go by if he get it passed. But to me, from what I heard today, it's kind of like shot himself in the foot, because he's hurt himself if it passed. But I don't know when it's going to pass to do like that.
With it being still recent and still in the courts, I know with certain court stuff, you're not allowed to talk on too much. Are you able to say anything about it or anything more on the voting? Yeah.
The voting?
Yeah, the recent.
Well, the only thing that, how we used to do it, he's saying now that, okay, take for instance, I'll use myself. And if there's a couple that don't want to go to the polls, that if I'm not being paid and violated, I can do it. But if I'm being paid, then it's not legal. Now, he's saying that, it used to be, they would have to bring that application to the courthouse. Now, he wrote it in his bill that I'm just using me. Could be anybody can bring their application to the courthouse.
Okay.
So, to me, he's killing himself. Because, if I get all these people to, do their applications, and I can bring them to the courthouse, okay, all right. But now the way you said it is that I'm influencing somebody to vote the way I want it to be voted. But that's not the truth, but that's how he thinking. But if I am able to bring them all, then I'm trying to think, do he think that we gonna influence the people to vote? I mean, like I told the guy today, he killing himself. He shooting himself in the foot.
Twisting the words a little bit and just
right. Yeah,
we kind of touched on the merging of Lake County and NAACP. And of course, I know when the Opelika branch began again, as about 2020. But do y'all, by any chance, know before then about when, or have ever been told when the Opelika one originally started? The Opelika branch of the NAACP originally started?
I think we came to Cool, 1967?
1967.
Yeah, that's what we ran in that area, I think. That was something that I had read, and what we kind of come up with, that could have been because it used to be a charter. I think it was 1967 was on that. I've written that down. That's where that come from.
Yeah. I don't even know. It was a big old charter too.
That was a small thing.
But it was a big something in the church at Bethesda.
Yeah. Okay.
But I don't know what they did with it,
Do you remember what it said or who signed it?
I don't.
Did anyone ever, to your knowledge, record any early histories of the Black NAACP or just share early stories?
I think when we got ready to do the banquet, people went around and interviewed the ones that people was in it before us, got their stories and stuff like that. But otherwise than that, I don't think so.
Understandable, but I was mostly just curious to see if
Because
anything floating around.
we was finding out the other night that it was some other people that was mentioned that they were presidents, but they don't have.
Reverend Johnson, look like I kind of remember that, but that was just before I joined. Look like, what is that, Reverend? That's what is that, Reverend
Wilson.
Not Johnson, but Jennings.
Reverend Jennings, and then you had Reverend Johnson. He was a VP, and
I'm talking about Reverend Jennings. He was there before. He probably was some of the beginning.
right.
That helped organize, right after it organized. And I remember Reverend Jennings because he used to preach up in Elliott City in the area. And my pastor and all, they kind of knew each other. And I didn't know him, at that time. And he was very active person. But I didn't know, I wasn't a member, and I wasn't involved. But I do kind of remember. I'll write his name down. His first name,
Oh, Bobby, it ain't Bobby.
I am Miss Paul. She and I can just type a name in, and it'll come up. It will remember.
Do y'all remember any of the names of really early presidents, or would
About Marvin, Mr. Trimble, and that's it.
fully understandable? I wanted to ask this. Touching back on the voting a little bit, I know that at least the Auburn side, the Auburn Freedom League, very early on had a march from Auburn to Opelika for voting, and they ended up getting arrested.
Yeah. Yeah, Barbara Pitts, Yeah.
And I know Miss Doris Hutchinson and Miss Gwendolyn
Tinsley.
I was trying to remember her last name.
Yeah, Tinsley.
I know that they also got arrested during that.
Yeah, they did.
Did that news travel far? Did it get to Lochapoka or Waverly? Did y'all hear about then, or was it later?
I don't.
I can remember my oldest sister talking about because she went to school at Drake, and they were all at Drake High School, and they was Lee County Training School and JF Drake School, so it traveled. But I think after a little while they got things situated where they could do the voting and stuff like that. After Johnson signed up, because it was in the 60s after he signed up voting right. And see, that's why now we got to that's what John Lewis, so we got to get that bill passed and get that in there. They got to work on that, because he worked real hard to get a lot of things and stuff.
I do apologize if you already said this, but what school did he go to again?
Who, me?
Yes.
Lochapoka High School.
Why? How did it end up? How did it end up that you went to Lochapoka High School, but your sister went to Drake?
Because at the time they had the elementary school at Mount Zion Baptist Church, and after they finished the 6th grade there, they went to Drake.
Gotcha. I was just mostly curious how y'all ended up going to different high schools.
And then my brother, he was at. They transferred some of the kids to Beauregard, but he didn't want to come back to Lochapoka, so he stayed at Beauregard, and then then the ones that wanted to come back to Lunchbox, they came back to Lunchbox.
Gotcha. That seems even further from Lunchapoka than.
So, but and it was quite a few of them that I guess because at the time they had the athletic programs and stuff like that, and they played football and basketball and stuff like that. So,
did Lunchapoka High School ever play Drake or Darden, or
no, they didn't. That we played the Southern. That's our rivalry, like Opelika and Auburn's rivalry.
When Lunchapoka, I'm just guessing this now, I'm just asking a question. When Lunchapoka came back down to high school, Drake wasn't no more.
No, Drake wasn't anymore. They had, it was not high school, but it was elementary. Mm-hmm.
How did you ever talk to your sister about her experience at Drake, and do you ever wish you went to Drake, or were you happy at Lunchapoka?
Well, at the time, she was much older than me, but she enjoyed Drake. She was in the band and everything. Mm-hmm. And she won a lot of contests and stuff. Even when she was at Lunchapoka, she won some contests and stuff.
That's awesome. That's good. Mm-hmm. Very talented sounding.
Yeah. Yeah, we, so it was 3 girls and 1 boy.
I remember being told about the Drake band, so a little bit.
Yeah, she played the flute. Matter of fact, I saw that band director about 2 weeks ago, Dr. Moffett. Yeah.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen that name somewhere recently.
Yeah, Dr. Moffett. He was their band director. Matter of fact, we were connected through the CME church,
Yeah.
So he was their band director. And they was on point.
With the Edward Bell School, did you have any friends at the Edward Bell School who was also involved in the NAACP?
No, but I know. No.
Did any teachers ever talk about it or anything during your classes that you remember?
They probably was more restricted about talking about a lot of things. Certain things teachers could talk to children about, certain things that they could, certain things they could not. But matter of fact, I got my little cousin, he's in Alabama State, and the museum downtown Lunchapoka got Ku Klux Klan uniforms in there, and he needs to get in where he can do a report and stuff like that. So, Yeah. So we had some Ku Klux Klans. They got the suits and stuff, and we probably got some now. But they just don't wear the hood.
That doesn't even surprise me.
Mm-hmm. It's a mess.
Do you remember anyone talking about it in your high school? In the NAACP, I mean.
My teacher, Mr. Ralph Foster, he talked about it. I think he was in the Auburn chapter. Yeah, because, when we become of age, he told us we need to register to vote, and he would bring the applications and stuff. I guess that's why I got that from, because I get them, and I take them to the high school, because if you're 17, about to be 18, before you can vote, and I take them out there where they can.
You can register, but you can't.
You can't vote by the time you get 18.
What was your high school experience like?
I enjoyed school. For that, we all have a lot of friends. That's about it. I was top, at least top 4 or 5 in my class.
So very smart, I take it.
Well, I just was top. I just did what I had to do.
That's fair.
I got along. We was close. Teachers, they act like they were crazy about me. I got away with something. The principal.
Fair enough.
I didn't get in no trouble. That's the way it was. I got my upbringing. My mother had instilled, go do what teach. See, teachers and preachers at that time, hey, we had to That was
Those
honor
were,
them.
that was mostly
Respect.
your influence and respect for ones that kept you in line besides your parents, you know.
Very much so.
Yes.
I'm gonna see if other questions. See if any other couple of questions I can ask about the Lee County NAACP from what y'all know, and then could possibly wrap up after that. And of course, anything else you want to add as well after I see any more questions. Of course, outside of the local events we've already talked about with the university and with Opelika, was there anything else that the Lee County NAACP has been involved in since its formation that y'all are aware of or have been a part in?
Basically, they were involved in, getting people registered to vote, That's probably why you was going to St. James. When,
It was a loss.
Yeah. But I'm just saying that was one of the things,
Yeah.
They push the voting, get the vote and get the better candidate. And I think we got behind, we can't endorse anybody, but, we can encourage them and help them out there, And that's probably the reason why Jeremy Gray, did as well as he.
When the Auburn branch event just kind of died out, what was that potentially? When Auburn branch died out, do y'all know if the Opelika branch kind of continued on, or was active during that time, or also kind of how the Lee County branch eventually picked up? If that makes any sense whatsoever. I feel like that question was rambling.
So I don't remember all the branch.
Yeah.
I just joined.
I just remember Mr. Hill talking about it. So, and I guess Lee County branch was starting to probably pick up where they left off, to help the situation, Because I imagine some of them from the Auburn branch went into the Opelika branch.
I would imagine so as well.
Yeah.
I was mostly curious to see if y'all knew anything more about that.
I'm not for sure of who the persons are, but I'm sure they were. Probably dig some more and you probably will find some.
I have been kind of looking at thinking about history as a hole that hasn't been dug properly yet. Because sometimes when you dig, you can just, hit a little gold mine and just accidentally find something.
Has anybody interviewed or talked to Ms. Irene?
Miss who?
Bernice Irene and Miss Pitts.
I remember. I know. I have to look and see if anyone has. She
had a lot of information about the Auburn chapter,
Good to know.
Yeah, because she grew up in Auburn.
I've noticed that a lot of people who are being interviewed grew up in Auburn or grew up in Opelika, but most grew up in Auburn. And so I find it very interesting to kind of hear Litchfield and Waverly perspective a little bit too. It's also interesting to hear that there wasn't a branch in Litchfield or Waverly, or at least not that y'all know of.
No.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
I wonder why one wasn't created. I guess because it's kind of close by, but I still kind of wonder why there wasn't one created.
Too far out. We're too far out of the country.
Then people probably like myself that live out, they heard about Lee County or Auburn.
You probably joined in on either one.
Right.
Makes sense.
Then there are people that's not gonna deal with that.
Makes sense. Honestly, here's a small quick question. Because then, before you started, you had talked about you working in the university library. talked about, what's the word? What department was it again? It wasn't a newspaper. Cereals.
Cereals
Yes.
department.
I couldn't think of the word. Like, it's newspapers and something.
Newspaper and magazines and government document books and different other stuff we catalog. Yeah.
How did you get started?
How did I get started? I'm trying to think. I worked at the city of Auburn in the summertime. And I used to, do the books and different stuff. And this guy, he said, Irene, you'd be good at the Auburn Library. And I went over there and I worked 18 years over there.
That's a good long time.
Yeah, and then I transferred out of the main library to the architect library.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that. I see a couple of the guys that professor, he taught landscaping, and they took the landscaping skills and they into their business, doing the grass and different stuff like that.
Is there anything really quick that you want to add in?
I can't think of anything. You did a good job. You didn't really know anything.
I think so. So, thank you for taking your time to
I didn't know what to expect. I think you got more out of me than I really thought I knew.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I did. As I was hoping. I always hoped that like the earlier on introduction kind of questions kind of would help draw out some memories. So I'm very glad I did.
Okay.
I'm very glad I did. Is there anything you want to add on really quick?
No, we got it all.
Well, I do very much so appreciate you taking your time to come.
All right.
And